What's going on, Satoshi Warriors? Welcome back to Seamus's Crypto Lounge. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you about the most bullish event in crypto's history, the Bitcoin halving. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the Bitcoin halving and how to utilize this incredibly bullish event to give you life-changing gains. I'll also give you my Bitcoin price prediction for the next bull run based on data from prior halvings. This episode is packed full of information from start to finish, and if at any point you find this content helpful, don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends and family. With that being said, let's jump into the video. So you may be wondering, how could the Bitcoin halving possibly be the most bullish event in the history of cryptocurrency? Well, strap in and I'll explain why. First, we need to understand what the Bitcoin halving is to understand why it's so bullish. To understand how the Bitcoin halving works, we need to first understand how the Bitcoin network works. The Bitcoin network is run off of a system wherein miners process transactions in blocks. Blocks are essentially a finite list of transactions that are grouped together and published for everyone on the network to see. As this article from Investopedia states, the term mining is not used in a literal sense, but as reference to the way precious metals are gathered. Bitcoin miners solve mathematical problems and confirm legitimacy of transactions. They then add these transactions to a block and create chains of these blocks of transactions, forming the blockchain. This is the important part. When a block is filled up with transactions, the miners that processed and confirm the transactions within the block are rewarded with Bitcoins. So now we can answer the question, what is the Bitcoin halving? After every 210,000 blocks are mined, or roughly every 4 years, the block reward given to Bitcoin miners for processing transactions is cut in half. This event is referred to as a halving because it cuts in half the rate at which new Bitcoins are released into circulation. The last Bitcoin halving was in 2020, and the next one is on track for Q1 of 2024. And finally, the last piece of information you need to know, the Bitcoin block reward is going from 6.25 Bitcoins per block to 3.125 Bitcoin per block. So you may be wondering, Seamus, why do I care about the Bitcoin mining system if I'm only in Bitcoin for the gains? Great question. There are two reasons why the Bitcoin halving is incredibly bullish for the price of Bitcoin. The first reason is in a pure economic sense. When there is less supply flowing into the market, the Bitcoin valuation is diluted much less, by half to be exact. In turn, the price stability at inflated USD valuation becomes easier to sustain, and it means in the future it will take less money to move the markets up and to the right. The second reason that Bitcoin halving is incredibly bullish comes from a psychological view of human emotion on the markets. The Bitcoin halving sends a shock throughout the crypto and traditional markets, almost causing mass FOMO. What do I mean by this? Well, since the rate of supply increase is diminishing, this causes more people to fear being left behind if they don't rapidly accumulate Bitcoin. This causes a positive feedback loop, where more people are buying Bitcoin, making the price increase, causing more people to feel FOMO and buy more Bitcoin. It's a good thing you watch my videos, because with this knowledge you can buy your bag now and sit back and relax while attaining life-changing wealth. Don't just take my word for it. Let's jump into the macro charts and see what actually happened during the past Bitcoin halvings. But first, hit that like button if you're enjoying this content or finding it helpful. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join the Satoshi Army. Let's jump back into the video. Jumping into the macro chart, I've marked off all the Bitcoin halvings in blue and measured the percentage gain of Bitcoin from the halving to the peak of the next bull market. First off, I want to note that the Bitcoin halvings occurred at the beginning or middle of all crypto bull markets. The first halving occurred in 2012, and from halving to peak of the bull market, Bitcoin increased by about 9,400%. The second halving occurred in mid-2016 and led Bitcoin to increase by about 2,700%. Finally, the most recent halving occurred in 2020 and led Bitcoin to increase by 700%. Above those measurements, I took the gains from the 2016 halving to peak and divided them by the gains after the 2012 halving and got 30%. Meaning the gains from 2016 were 30% of the gains from 2012, from halving to bull run peak. I did this again, dividing the gains from the 2020 halving to bull run peak by the gains from the 2016 halving to peak and got 25%. By extrapolating that value and multiplying it by the gains from the 2020 halving to bull run peak, we get a 175% increase of Bitcoin's valuation from the 2024 Bitcoin halving to the peak of the next bull run. Because of the bullish nature of the Bitcoin halving, this leads Bitcoin to increase in price before the halving occurs, meaning that Bitcoin will increase far more than 175% from macro low to high in the next crypto bull run. My Bitcoin price prediction is Bitcoin being at 60K by the time of the halving. And by multiplying that by 175%, or 2.75, we get 165K Bitcoin at the peak of the next bull run. In summary, the Bitcoin halving is an incredibly bullish event, and you don't want to get left behind. I would suggest picking up small increments of Bitcoin leading up to the next halving and strap in for massive gains. That's all I have in today's video. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one, Satoshi Warriors.